I have no regrets.
So when I saw this moment, I was just thinking about myself and a lot of emotions and grieving that I have experienced. I don't know how the executives over at Turning Point USA sleep at night. Okay. I don't know how you can present yourselves as a Christian organization and not be dedicating yourself to the truth. No matter what the cost is, you tell the truth.
It recently came out that Charlie Kirk had privately told Candace Owens something shocking before his passing. He was planning to secretly get a DNA test on his own kids, just to be sure. When the results came back, the truth reportedly shook him to his core. What those papers revealed wasn't what he expected at all. It's sad that Charlie never got the chance to fully talk it out with Erica before everything that happened. For a while, it seemed like he took that secret with him forever until now. Because Candace, she's not holding back anymore. She's asking the tough questions that no one else dares to touch. And according to her, the silence around this situation has gone on long enough. What's even more suspicious is that Erica seems desperate to keep things quiet, and that's got everyone wondering, did Candace just stumble onto a painful truth, or is this being blown out of proportion to cause chaos? Either way, the internet's on fire trying to figure out what's real and what's not. But before diving deeper into those DNA test rumors, one thing's clear. Candace is under attack from every angle. Critics are swarming her online, and the wildest part, the loudest voice going after her is none other than the one person you'd expect to want answers to, Charlie's wife, Erica. And that's what pushed Candace past her breaking point. According to Candace, Erica even went as far as sending a letter straight to the judge, asking for a restraining order linked to the case. But Candace isn't the type to back down easily. She jumped online and said if that's what it takes, she's ready to go to any length to uncover how
is kind of sending a message here that she's not standing against the people that are telling the truth. I said early on, if Erica Kirk asks me to be quiet, I will be quiet. She didn't ask me to be quiet. So I don't know what I'm supposed to.
No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD. Yes, I do.
People around Charlie really treated him. This story is just getting started. In the final months of his life, Candace Owens said something that made everyone's jaw drop. She claimed that what she discovered in just 1 week was powerful enough to bring down the system. And then she dropped the line that set social media on fire. Charlie was betrayed by everyone. That single sentence sent shockwaves through her entire community. People couldn't believe it. And the way she said it hit differently this time. It wasn't just a passing comment. When she said everyone, fans immediately started asking the hard question. Was she including his wife, Erica? That's when the conversation flipped completely. The comment section lit up like wildfire, full of people begging Candace to release everything she had. The screenshots, the receipts, the proof. One message in particular went viral, racking up over 2,000 likes, and it captured exactly how people felt. If the truth is strong enough to burn everything, then let it burn. Let the truth come out, Candace. Then, just when everyone thought things couldn't get crazier, Candace dropped the bombshell. She posted what she called the real receipts, and suddenly, the entire internet froze. The air went cold online as people realized she wasn't bluffing. What she exposed painted a chilling picture of betrayal that no one could ignore. Erica Kirk and her supporters were suddenly backed into a corner. The timing, the tone.
Cameras in the courtroom. How do you feel about that?
There were cameras all over my husband when he was murdered. There have been cameras all over my friends and family mourning. There have been cameras all over me, analyzing my every move, analyzing my every smile, my every tear.
The quietness that followed, it all made the situation feel even more suspicious. Candace might have been the one who cracked it open, but truthfully, many people online weren't that surprised. They had been side-eyeing Erica's public behavior ever since Charlie's passing. Was she really mourning, or was she keeping up a carefully written act? That's the question echoing across the internet. Because when people started connecting the dots, everything began to click in a way that felt eerie. If Charlie was worried enough to get a private DNA test, suddenly it didn't seem like paranoia. It seemed like preparation. And when you look at the clues that played out in plain sight, it gets even more unsettling. On at least 2 separate occasions after Charlie's death, Erica's comments about 2 different men had people doing double takes. The reactions, The tone, the timing, everything she said and did started looking less like coincidence and more like part of something planned. The audience could feel that this story was spiraling into something much deeper. The first major red flag came when Erica Kirk spoke about Mikey McCoy, Charlie's longtime chief of staff and right-hand man. Her tone that day was so emotional, it stunned the crowd into silence. In front of everyone, she said over and over again, "Mikey McCoy is awesome!" And that tiny moment ended up becoming the talk of the internet because everyone remembered. This was the same man who was seen calmly walking away from the scene, phone pressed to his ear, right after everything happened. It made people stop and wonder, why was he so calm? Did he know something before it happened? That clip alone sent chills through the comment sections.
We deserve to have cameras in there. Why not be transparent? There's nothing to hide. I know there's not, because I've seen what the case is built on. Let everyone see what true evil is. Let everyone see and know how it happened.
But then came the real shocker, the viral moment that blew up across every platform. Erica Kirk and Vice President J.D. Vance were caught embracing on stage during what was supposed to be a tribute event honoring Charlie. The irony was impossible to miss. It was meant to be about remembering her late husband, but that one hug became the entire headline. Viewers couldn't look away, and the reactions were instant. Why would she do that there of all places, some said. Seconds before that hug, she had been speaking about Charlie's legacy. She could have kept the focus on his life, his work, his impact, but instead, her tone suddenly shifted. To some, it felt way too personal, and way too soon. That's when the whispers started spreading online. If she could move on that quickly in public, what was really going on behind closed doors when Charlie was still here? Was there something he suspected? Something serious enough to make him secretly seek out answers on his own? Those were the questions echoing across social media. Then things took an even stranger turn. The defense in the Tyler Robinson case, the man accused in the incident, filed a motion to keep cameras out of the courtroom. They said it was necessary to ensure a fair trial. That's standard procedure in sensitive cases. But Erica's reaction raised eyebrows again. In a sit-down with Jesse Waters, she said banning cameras was unfair because, in her words, people deserve to see the whole truth. But what she said next, that completely flipped the conversation. Erica claimed she had personally reviewed all the investigative material and that it gave a complete picture of what happened to her husband. Then, she added something that stunned everyone. She said what she saw was so cruel that she wanted the whole world to see it. That statement sent the online community.
The entire issue and the energy right now is that people, irrespective of what's happening on paper, don't believe the story. They don't believe the story. And you are, and of course, this is only a snippet of the interview, so I'm sure more will be said here. But I'm getting that you have seen the case, you think it's a solid case, she thinks it's a solid case at least, and is saying, show everybody what you have so they can see true evil. Within her capacity of chairman and CEO of Turning Point USA, they could be more transparent about what happened that day. People don't like the stuff that they've seen about Mikey McCoy. They don't like what they've seen about Rob McCoy. They don't like the history of Rob and Mikey McCoy.
Into a frenzy. Candace Owens was especially caught off guard by that interview. And according to her, that comment changed everything. Now, for clarity, public sources say this story is under huge discussion online. Everything being said here is public commentary and speculation based on what's already out there. It's about exploring the narrative, not confirming anyone's private life. The defense team still insists cameras should stay out to keep the process fair. But that raises a big question. How do you feel about that? Should the public see everything, or should some parts remain unseen? Still, Candace couldn't hold back. She went live and directly addressed what Erica said. Her voice was calm, but her words hit like lightning. Why is Erica so eager to accept the official version when everyone can see the inconsistencies? Candace pointed out something that resonated deeply with her followers. How could someone so close to the center of everything declare, "It's all clear now," when the entire community was spotting missing pieces left and right? Why rush to call the story complete when nothing about it feels finished? That was the moment when the tone of the entire debate changed. What started as an argument turned into full-blown skepticism. Because despite all the official records, despite all the polished statements and carefully chosen words, people simply didn't buy it. They didn't believe the neat little timeline being presented or the perfectly crafted explanation. or even the reassurances given in interviews. And most of all, they didn't believe that Erica herself didn't know something more. To many, her confidence in the official story felt less like trust and more like a script. And that's what's keeping this case alive in everyone's minds. The feeling that not everything has been said yet, and that the truth might still be hiding in plain sight. There was this heavy, unshakable energy online. People could feel that the story being told in the media didn't match what their gut was telling them. It wasn't just random speculation or wild theories anymore. Viewers were starting to piece things together using small but crucial bits of information coming from credible sources. That's when Candace Owens noticed something that made her stop in her tracks, something that didn't sit right at all. Erica wasn't just accepting the official version of events, she was defending it passionately. Almost like she had made up her mind that any kind of questioning was somehow disrespectful to Charlie's memory. But that's exactly what set Candace off. She looked right into the camera and said, "If you really want to honor someone who's gone, why silence the people asking questions? Why treat curiosity like a crime? Why pick silence over clarity?" That's when the internet exploded again, because to so many people watching, Erica's attitude didn't feel like grief. It felt like management, like someone protecting a specific version of the story, not fighting for the full truth. And when silence looks too deliberate, people start thinking something bigger is being covered up. At this point, it wasn't even about choosing sides anymore. It was about the questions themselves. If everything was so transparent, why were cameras banned from the courtroom? If the truth was supposedly so clear, why did it feel like so many details were being buried under official explanations? The more people asked, the less answers they got, and that made the silence even louder. Then came the major red flag, Charlie's autopsy report. It was never released publicly. No summary, no statement, nothing. Not a single update about what the final report showed. People kept refreshing their feeds, expecting something, anything, official to come out, but it never did. And to make things even weirder, those bullet casings that went viral early on, the ones people said had words scratched into them, suddenly vanished from the entire discussion. Experts later pointed out that the casings weren't even large enough to hold that much writing. And then, like magic, the topic disappeared overnight. No clarification, no explanation, no closure. Even Candace herself admitted she wasn't shocked that so many people online were starting to believe strange theories about Charlie possibly being alive. Not because she believed them, but because look at how everything was handled. Nothing about Erica's behavior made sense to the public. While most people were still grieving, trying to process what had happened, she was already stepping into her next role. As CEO of Turning Point USA, that move alone made the internet lose it. People were stunned that instead of laying low, Erica was appearing on multiple stages, giving interviews and talking about the new vision for the organization, all just weeks after her husband's death. While the rest of the world was still processing the shock, she was describing how excited she was about the attention TPUSA was suddenly getting. She even called it Charlie's legacy, saying this was what he would have wanted. But to Candace, those words felt hollow. She called them a cover-up dressed as devotion. Candace firmly believes Charlie didn't want emotional sound bites or perfectly scripted speeches. He wanted the truth. The raw, uncomfortable truth about what really happened to him and who he could and couldn't trust in his final months. And when Candace said those words out loud, things started shifting in ways no one expected, because suddenly the spotlight wasn't just on Erica anymore. New reports started popping up from totally different people, all echoing one chilling message. Not everyone around Charlie was who they appeared to be. Former employees began speaking out anonymously, saying that the energy in the office had completely changed just weeks before everything went down. One said Charlie seemed tense, like he was watching people instead of trusting them. Another claimed he noticed Charlie started working late, avoiding certain conversations, and keeping his notes private. And a volunteer shared something that hit hard. Charlie had told them he felt like he couldn't rely on the same people he once called family. That revelation sent a chill through everyone following the story. Because if true, it meant Charlie had already sensed that betrayal was coming, long before anyone else did. The deeper people looked, the clearer it became. This wasn't just about one event or one person anymore. It was about a pattern of silence, control, and fear that surrounded Charlie in his final days. And according to Candace, that's exactly why she refuses to stop asking questions, because too many of the people closest to him seem too comfortable pretending that everything's fine. All those accounts that were once brushed off as gossip suddenly started to sound very real once Candace Owens revealed those private texts. The puzzle pieces clicked together in a way that was impossible to ignore. Because when you line up what witnesses said with what Candace uncovered, the full picture is chilling. It looks like Charlie Kirk's most trusted circle didn't just let him down emotionally, they may have quietly weakened his position, his influence, and even his sense of safety. And that leads to the question that has everyone talking. If Erica wasn't the only one involved, then who else was? Who actually benefited from Charlie being gone? And maybe the biggest question of all, why has everyone been so silent since it happened? That silence is the part that makes people's skin crawl. Because in every story about power, silence is never just silence, it's strategy. The deeper you go, the darker it gets. Candace said it best. The truth doesn't disappear. It just hides until someone pulls back the curtain. And in this case, that curtain revealed a side of Charlie's world that most people never saw. A world full of backroom deals, power moves, and people who might not have had his best interests at heart. Charlie was living surrounded by individuals who each had their own agendas. And it's no surprise that he became so cautious that he decided to get that secret DNA test done on his children. To him, it wasn't about paranoia, it was about peace of mind, because the more he looked around, the more everything started to feel connected, like a spider web made of secrets and half-truths. He didn't know who to trust anymore, not even the people sitting closest to him. And inside that same web, one name kept popping up: Tyler Boyer, a top executive within TPUSA and one of the most influential figures in the organization's inner circle. Multiple sources, including Candace, claimed that the internal rumors surrounding him weren't minor workplace gossip. They hinted at behavior that made Charlie uncomfortable. There were allegations that Boyer had created an unprofessional environment and possibly used his connections to influence how leadership decisions were made behind the scenes. If those reports hold any truth, it raises serious questions. Who was really building the leadership team around Charlie? Was Charlie even aware of how deep the internal politics went? And did he realize that some of the people he trusted the most might have had their own motives? Because when someone starts to suspect their colleagues of playing double roles, that's when paranoia turns into self-protection. And that's when Charlie might have decided to take things into his own hands. The public can't help but notice one thing. Throughout all of this, Erica never distanced herself from these controversial figures. Even when allegations surfaced, even when questions started flooding social media, she kept defending them. While people expected her to demand transparency or accountability, she seemed to do the opposite, standing by them, smiling next to them, and promoting them in leadership roles. That's what confused people the most. Why would Erica protect people who were already under so much scrutiny? Were those loyalties about work, about friendship, or was something deeper holding them together? That's the mystery Candace keeps pushing. The idea that this betrayal wasn't just about love or marriage, but about something layered and powerful, a system built on influence, secrets, and unspoken alliances. When you look back at Charlie's final months, that theory doesn't seem far-fetched. He was exhausted, emotionally drained. He started sending messages that hinted he was losing trust in almost everyone around him. Friends later said he had moments of quiet frustration, not anger, but disappointment. That sense of being surrounded, yet alone. At the same time, Erica's focus seemed to drift away from him and more toward the people who were shaping the organization's direction. Every time controversy hit, she was right there defending the same names that Charlie had reportedly started avoiding. It was like they were living in two completely different worlds under one roof. That's why Candace believes Charlie's decision to quietly confirm his children's DNA wasn't about suspicion, it was about control. When your world starts to feel unstable, you cling to the one truth that can't be manipulated. And that's what makes this whole story so human. Behind all the headlines and drama, there was a man who felt cornered and just wanted the truth in his personal life before facing the chaos in his public one. Looking at it now, every moment in that timeline fits together like a tragic puzzle. The warnings, the silence, the sudden distance between him and people he once trusted blindly, the text showing how tired he was, and the one final decision to verify something that most men never question, his own family ties. Candace's take on it is that Charlie's story isn't just about betrayal in love. It's betrayal in loyalty, in power, in truth itself. And when she said Erica wasn't alone, that hit everyone hard, because once she said it, people finally started seeing what they didn't want to believe before, that the betrayal may have come from multiple directions, all at once. And that's what makes this story so haunting. It's not just about who pulled away from Charlie, but why. What did they stand to gain? And what were they so desperate to keep hidden? One thing's for sure, Candace isn't done digging, and neither is the public. Now, the biggest question isn't just, did Erica betray Charlie? It's, who else stood to gain from her silence and from Charlie's silence forever? Because what's truly chilling about this entire situation isn't only what might be covered up, it's how fast and organized the reaction was once Candace Owens started digging for answers. The moment Candace began asking tough questions, everything moved like clockwork. Within hours of the restraining order being filed, the legal threats started flying. Defamation warnings, hush letters, and quiet reminders from Turning Point USA that Candace couldn't discuss sensitive topics connected to Charlie. It all felt way too polished, like a strategy, not a coincidence. That's what had people online asking, why did a grieving widow and a Christian-based organization react like a full-blown PR machine trying to contain a scandal? The speed, the tone, the precision, it all screamed damage control. And what really flipped the script was how fast the narrative turned against Candace. Suddenly, dozens of viral posts popped up labeling her unstable, unhinged, or emotional. Some even hinted she might be struggling with postpartum depression, a claim her fans slammed as nothing but a manipulative smear campaign designed to crush her credibility before she could speak again. And that's when things got even darker. Because the harder they tried to silence Candace, the more people started to believe Charlie's secret fears were justified all along. It's like his suspicions were being proven true by their very attempts to bury them. What's even more unsettling is Erica's response throughout all of this. She's been talking to the media nonstop, but not to seek peace. Instead, to shift the blame toward Candace. Every time she's asked about the controversy, she points back at Candace as if she's the problem, as if the chaos only exists because Candace refuses to stop talking. But the real question that keeps echoing through the comments section is, if Candace is truly the problem, then why did Charlie secretly take that DNA test in the first place? People don't just wake up one morning and do something like that for no reason. Nobody does that when they're confident in their marriage or fully at peace. And that's exactly what Candace keeps hinting at. If Charlie had truly trusted Erica, there would have been no test, no tension, no secrets. His actions told a story long before his words ever could. That's why everything around Erica now feels like a storm. The restraining order, the legal warnings, the social media spin, and the sudden flood of mental health accusations against Candace. None of it looks random. It looks coordinated. It looks like a full-blown effort to shift attention away from one thing, the truth. Because when you lay out the timeline step by step, it paints a pattern that's hard to ignore. Step 1, Candace starts asking questions about inconsistencies in the case. Step 2, just days later, Erica's team pushes a restraining order through. Step 3, lawsuits and threats appear almost immediately afterward. Step 4, social media explodes with posts discrediting Candace. Step 5, suddenly the story shifts from what happened to Charlie to what's wrong with Candace. It's a clean, calculated playbook, and people can see right through it. Some believe T. Pusey is terrified that Candace might expose something explosive. Others think Erica's doing everything in her power to protect her image, no matter the cost. But most viewers agree on one thing. If there's truly nothing to hide, then why are they working so hard to silence the one person asking questions? And that's when Candace hit the community with her final jaw-dropping question, the one that made everyone go silent. What if the reason Charlie couldn't confront Erica was because of what came out in that DNA test? That single line stopped the internet cold. It wasn't shouted, it wasn't exaggerated. It was calm, chilling, and real. Because everyone watching understood what she was hinting at. If the results of that private test weren't what Charlie expected, then that could explain everything. The distance, the fear, the secrecy, and the reason certain people might be desperate to keep Candace quiet. That's when the internet collectively realized this wasn't just about grief or rumors. This was about control. The effort to silence Candace didn't feel like a random emotional reaction. It felt like a defense mechanism, a reflex from people who know that if the truth ever gets out, everything they've built will collapse. According to public sources, this story continues to gain traction online. with new details surfacing daily. As always, this coverage is for commentary and discussion only, not confirmation, not speculation about private lives. Everything mentioned is based on publicly available reports and community conversation. But one thing's for sure, people are not done asking questions, and neither is Candace. If you believe the truth deserves to come out, hit that like button. If you think there are more secrets still buried, drop a comment and let us know what you think. Don't forget to share this video so more people can see what's really going on. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what comes next, because this story is far from over. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.